Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
It's 25 minutes before 12 o'clock. Time for the sharing space. The sharing space is what we do every single Wednesday around this time after the news at 11:30, and we share our stories. So anything that happens in your life that you think the 702 lenders may be interested to know about, or maybe stuff that's happened in your life and you need advice around that, you are welcome to send us an email on cm@702.co.za. I've got an email today from Matt. I'm going to read it, and then afterwards we're going to go to your calls. If Matt is asking for advice, be kind enough to please share your advice. If Matt is not asking for advice, but is just sharing what he went through, share your own experiences if this is something you have also experienced. So here we go. Hey guys, my name is Matt. I work for this multinational company based in Joburg North, but I don't want to mention that name. I've been here for about 5 years now at this company. I get along with everyone. I'm friendly with all the people in the office. I've actually built a nice, close community with some of my colleagues here. And I'm proud to say that I have a diverse group of colleagues that I've come to call friends. We hang out together, we play golf together, we do happy hour on Fridays, we hike together on weekends, and I've even met most of their families. But there's a concern that I have about what I've noticed lately. I am the only white person among my black friends. And whenever we hang out or do anything, they tend to use their home languages when speaking. I mean, I do catch easy terms, like greetings and other popular vernacular words or phrases, but mostly I get lost in conversations, and it's gotten me feeling a bit left out. How do I address this with my friends? I don't want to come across as ignorant or insensitive about something as important as our languages. But I want to know how I can raise this with care and understanding that the language barrier is now beginning to affect our friendships. Regards, Matt. Okay, this is Matt's conundrum. Are you in a situation similar to this? That's my first question to you, because I know there are people that, and it may not be along racial lines. I mean, in this case, Matt is white. His colleagues are black, and sometimes Matt says colleagues tend to speak their home languages together, even in conversations that involve him. And that's why he sometimes feels left out, and he doesn't know how to raise that in a sensitive way without sounding ignorant. And I really appreciate how Matt is handling this situation, because if it was somebody else, he would feel entitled to people speaking English, right? And you are not entitled to people speaking English around you. You are not. I think in the workplace, it's different, because if we are in a meeting, in a boardroom, why would we want to speak our home language when there are people in the boardroom or in that meeting who don't understand it, and it's a work meeting? If that company is clear in its policies that English is the language of communication and instruction for us as a company, you've got to respect that. Whether you are an advocate for your vernacular languages or not, you can talk your vernac when you get home or with your other colleagues when you are busy warming up food in the kitchen. But in the meeting room, you respect what the company expects you to do. And I don't think Matt is coming with the attitude of, no, they must speak English all the time. I think he's saying, I'm feeling a bit left out, and I want to know how to deal with this situation. Do I raise it with them? Or do you say to Matt, maybe Matt, this is an opportunity for you to go learn Sepedi or isiXhosa or Setswana or Chivenda, if that's the language that they speak, so that you are able to interface with them and communicate with them and enjoy the conversation. But I do think that, if you've got friends who don't understand your language and there's a language that all of you can understand, I think it's okay to actually bring in, especially if the friend is part of the conversation. What's the point in having the friend join the chat if we're constantly going to stick to the home languages and we have them left out because we know they don't understand, right? But equally so, my advice to you, Matt, is learn a bit of the languages as well. You know, I've said before that anybody who lives in this country and all they can speak is one language, you're doing a disservice to yourself. We live in the most beautifully diverse country with the most beautiful languages. If you can't even do the basic greetings and check-ins in another language other than yours, you're doing a disservice to yourself. So maybe learn, be interested in other people's languages because they've been interested in yours and maybe not interested, but forced to learn yours. So maybe learn a little bit more about that language that is spoken the most amongst your friends. But in as far as the meeting room is concerned, work, I really think it's unacceptable for you to rock in and start speaking Sepedi in the board meeting when other people don't even understand what you're saying. What are your thoughts? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. By the way, I must tell you a story. Once, someone came to me and started speaking Afrikaans to me. First of all, why would you assume that I understand Afrikaans? I'm black. So the likelihood is that I understand English than Afrikaans. There are other black people, of course, who can speak Afrikaans, but I found it bizarre that this man, I think I was at a bank, just approached me, started speaking Afrikaans, and I responded Kasepedi. And he was taken aback. And I didn't understand why. Because he came to me, he asked me a question in Afrikaans, and I responded Kasepedi. And he took offense. And I was like, that's weird. You came to me in Afrikaans. That's your home language. I'm responding to you in my home language. And you must be okay with that. Otherwise, then, speak a language that you and I are compromising in and can understand. Is that wrong to even take that approach? Let me know what your advice is for Matt and if you've been in these shoes before. It's 18 before 12.
The Sharing Space
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
15 minutes before 12.
Well, Clement, this is crucial. The first thing you can do is start learning the majority's language. How about that? Because here am I sending a voice note in English and I can big Afrikaans praat. So let him start there, saying while I'm learning, can we talk in Afrikaans, but also I need practice. So they will talk in Zulu or Sotho, whatever they're talking.
Yeah, my advice to Matt Clement is as follows. If he really cares about that relationship and his friends, he must start going to extra classes and learning their languages. So that, or at least if he can learn one, if the guys, most of them speak Sesotho, he must just go and learn Sesotho. That will be an effort from his side to show that he values the relationship. Instead of him sulking and sitting on the side and feeling neglected, he must acknowledge that he's in Africa. We've got majority of Africans, and the best way to survive is to learn the people's language. That is as simple as that. It cannot be something that we should discuss as if it's a tragedy. It's not a tragedy. He must go and learn the language.
Good morning, Clement. Yeah, I feel for this guy because I've worked in an environment where even as I'm a black person that speaks mostly English, Afrikaans, and Sepedi, I've been in an environment where you see people that speak isiXhosa, Zulu, and those people don't compromise. They'll be speaking their language, and then you're just sitting there looking around like you don't understand half the things they're saying. And then, yeah, I just wish people would be more considerate. But if I was this anonymous, I would just tell the colleagues that, you know what, guys, unfortunately, I can't understand most of the time. Can you please be a bit more accommodating? If not, then just distance yourself. That's what I do. I don't hang out with my work colleagues, especially ones that don't want to compromise with their languages. So yeah, I understand. Eddie from Centurion.
Hi, Clement. Yeah, I've experienced that as well. I was once employed by an insurance company which was very Afrikaans. I'd find myself amongst 48 Afrikaners in a conference, and obviously was speaking Afrikaans. I ended up buying Afrikaans CDs. I actually fell in love with Afrikaans music, and slowly but surely I got into the tune. And today, I'm not fluent, but I speak Afrikaans. Thank you.
Interesting. Please share some Afrikaans albums you've been listening to and the ones that you really caught on to. I'd like to give that a listen. Lionel, you calling from Johannesburg. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you doing, sir?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm fine, Clement. Hey, Clement, I'm in the same boat of you where you are in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a black skin colored guy.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm traveling to work with a taxi, and the people, they always talk to me in Vernac or Zulu, Xhosa. They think I can speak their language. Now at my company I'm working at, my first time when I walked in, my first year when I walked in, the guys in the sales, it's a white guy. I spoke to him in Afrikaans, but he couldn't believe that I can speak Afrikaans that well. He asked me, "Where did you learn Afrikaans?" I looked at him. I said to him, "I'm a colored guy. I can look black, but I'm a colored guy."
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't believe it. So, and when the guy speak to me in Zulu, and then I respond to him and said, "Listen, sir, I don't understand what you're saying. Let's speak English where we can understand each other." So it's a bit difficult for me as well.
Yeah, so it does happen. By the way, the guy who approached me in Afrikaans didn't say he thought I am maybe colored. No, it was just, I don't know, he felt like, oh, well, I'm Afrikaans and therefore I'm going to just speak Afrikaans to somebody else and they must respond. And I just felt that's an entitlement. Because then when I respond in my home language, then don't take offense. Otherwise, let's compromise. English is the language of instruction. Let's go with that then.
Clement, you tell me what incentive is there for any person who does not speak an African language to learn the vernacular? The workplace is English. The language of South Africa is English. What percentage of the population is actually English or English speaking? Very little. So the only way you're going to get the Mlungus and whoever else doesn't want to speak all the African vernaculars is to say, we are now going to do integration. 702, why don't you allow people to call in whatever language they want? Yes, translate it then. But at the same time, it will spur people to start learning the basic vernacs that they speak in Gauteng, which is going to be Zulu and isiXhosa. Otherwise, we are still going to be talking about this in 100 years' time. What about your culture, your identity? Should your kids not be going to school, learning their own language, learning their own cultural history?
Yeah, thank you for the voice note. In fact, on this show, I can speak for the station because I know some of my colleagues, we do take calls. In fact, we encourage people, if you're uncomfortable to speak English, you want to speak in your own language because that's how you're going to best articulate yourself, do so. And I'll take it upon myself to translate because there are also licensing issues here. 702 is not a Sepedi radio station. It's an English medium radio station. That's our license. So my responsibility then is to try translate to the other listeners who may not understand. But on this show, we allow people to call in and express themselves in the best way they think they are articulating themselves best. More of your WhatsApps.
Hi, Clement and team. Matt's question is taking me back to this little question I had in my head yesterday. I think I was listening to Clement Show. And I was asking myself, do white people and other races that are not African get to be asked these questions at interviews if they can speak any African languages? Because we get to be asked if you can speak Afrikaans. So it sounds like more of the same thing, which means we need to try and meet each other halfway and learn something about each other.
Clement, maybe I'll also remain anonymous, but to Matt, at work, I think I've learned the hard way that at work we've got colleagues. We don't have friends. And with the colleagues, we only focus on the job. Now, if it happened that you managed to develop some friendships with your colleagues, then they will not exclude you if they are friends to you. So they'll make sure that the language they communicate with, you are able to understand it. Yeah, but if that's not the case, then just keep it strictly to work. Matt, no friendship at work.
Hey, I'm Clement. I won't say my name this time. I will send an email. My name, clearly, in my surname, you can see what it is, an African brother. I send it to an Afrikaans lady. She responds in Afrikaans. So every time I speak to her, I have to Google Translate. I complain to my boss, but isn't the English a language that we must all use so we can all get along? No, don't worry, these people. But now if I start and write an email in Sepedi, HR hearing, I find it very, very unfair.
Yeah, it's unfair. If you write to me an email in Afrikaans, I'm going to respond in Sepedi. I will. Because you want to speak your home language, which is not the language of communication in the company. Then I'll also stick to my home language. We need to fight this level of entitlement sometimes from people who think we must pander around them because this is their language and therefore we must find ways to maneuver that. And I know it gets complicated with other people who work in places where the power dynamics are quite complicated. Because if you start reacting like that, then, someone tweeted me and says, Clement, I once got fired because I responded in Setswana to a work email that was written in Afrikaans. Why are you writing me an email in Afrikaans when the language of communication, as per the policies of this company, is English?
Hi, Clement. The lady that questioned the incentive of learning African languages is spot on. The sad part is that even children of black people lately don't know their African languages very well because they are incentivized to master English at the expense of their home languages because that's the language that's going to advance them in the corporate world. So, yeah, we are going to lose our languages in many years to come.
Hello, about the language issue and friends. It's quite a broad situation because my daughter-in-law is Brazilian. She came to live here in South Africa, married to my son, and she's had to learn to speak English. It was very, very difficult for her, but no one here spoke Portuguese, and so that was very difficult. She did also have to learn English so that she could present her research, her scientific research at conferences. And it just seems that English is a lingua franca and that many people in different countries have to learn this language in order to participate in dialogues across a lot of different disciplines. But nevertheless, I think it does seem to be a situation where the person needs to perhaps learn one of the other languages in our country.
Agree.